let us know. And if you're having weird dreams this week too, or this frantic kind of feeling when you get up, that you still have work to be doing, maybe give us the what you're feeling there in the live chat. I'll try to bring those comments up. I have a lot of great questions for you guys already tonight. I started a few comments before we started the show. And Janine and I have quite a few things also we want to share with you this evening. And we have some special prizes also. And did Big Mike also? Is that true? Michelle Obama also cancer, prostate cancer? Like somebody was joking about that the other day.
Apparently, like it's all out there on social media, but I don't know if it's.
Yeah, it's a big com too. So interestingly enough,
certainly.
So
he was also outing white genocide that nobody wants to talk about.
Nobody talks about that. I know, that was so weird. Again, he's been on fire this week, absolutely crazy. And now, of course, to add to all of that, which is going to be the next segment here, we're going to have to talk about this Golden Dome, the implications of that, what is actually happening in the background, some of the intel that you've been getting in the cards, and some other people also chiming in here that the situation might be actually more dire than we think with this global defense zone that Mr. Trump seems to be spearheading.
Mm-hmm.
So, Janine, right now, 40,000-foot pool, weird situation, weird energies. What do we need to know? That was the question.
Mm-hmm. Well, weird situation, weird energies for sure with that card. That one's a little bit grumpy. And this is describing this community. So a little bit grumpy. And there's the swords. It's like they want to win. They want to see a win. They're feeling frustrated, like they want to fight. So there's a lot of people like feeling a little on edge of their seat there and a little frustrated with the whole situation, putting it mildly, and even feeling angry or grumpy. And here we've got the Six of Swords. So that's interesting. Moving out of troubled water, even though, so we're busy looking that way and saying, well, why didn't the Epstein list come out yet? Why didn't this come out? Why didn't that? And then really, there's such a huge amount of information that's come out. Like even just this weekend, all the things you mentioned that Trump mentioned, right? It's like it would really take us away from this feeling if we just paid a little attention to all of that stuff. Right?
Yeah.
That's what saved me was the unbelievable stuff he was putting on Truth Social. And sharing, generally speaking, okay? So here we've got the King of Wands. So he's really dominating the news. So it's really fascinating to me. And it makes it really obvious to me that there's something really interesting happening in the world where supposedly this guy everybody hates dominates the news every single day, the world news. Like the whole world is hearing about the stuff he's doing. So that's a clue right there. Like he's got world leaders coming in. He's giving them verbal spankings. He's keeping everybody on their toes. He's got our leader, Prime Minister Carney, who, just snuck in there. Obviously a really interesting situation. He's got that guy dancing for him. Yeah. Like right after he got in, even though he led the cry and how he got in the first place, or what people say was the reason he got. I think it was all rigged, but they say he ran on the platform that he was going to basically put Trump in his place, and now he's literally dancing for him.
And to some extent, now it appears that he's letting Trump take care of Canada's security, which a lot of pundits here in Canada are saying, hey, wait a second. Just last month, you were telling us that Trump was the biggest threat to Canadian democracy and security, and now you're going to hand over the keys so that he can run the Golden Dome over Canada? What just happened, Mr. Carney?
And according to our cards, handing over billions of dollars.
We'll get into that in just a moment here. Yeah.
Right. So Trump's like the main topic of conversation all over the world, it looks like. And here we've got a really stressed out card. So we're going into a time when the general population feels really stressed. But interesting, we get something for us. Okay, I can't wait to see what this is. There's some kind of victory for our community in the form of information and just how it's presented or who it's presented by. Let's hope that's mainstream media presented. That would really help. If something came out that we all know to be true and was finally known to be true by everybody, that'd be awesome. So
Well, listen,
something that's coming.
Trump said on his True Social the other day, all roads lead to Obama. Let me know if you guys want military tribunals. I mean, dude, this is a sitting president. That's an official tweet. I'm like, and again, mainstream news didn't touch that. In my view, and I think for most of the people watching the show, they would consider that already a victory. Just the fact that that's out there, it was spoken by a president. But are your cards suggesting that that's the victory? Or are we moving the dial even further to where this is hitting mainstream news as a victory? Do you want to do clarifiers there?
Yeah, this is coming. So it's in the near future, what to watch for.
Okay.
And it'll stress out the regular folks, but we're going to be happy about it.
I could just imagine.
8, 2 8s. 8 of cups. So somebody that went away. But really, they've been working in the background. Somebody we thought went away, but really they've been working in the background all of this time for the good.
JFK Jr.?
I wonder. I mean, wow, King of Swords. He definitely would fit that.
Mm-hmm.
But there's other people that might fit that too. He's a really good speaker, whoever this is. He's a little bit detached in his presentation. Fair, not like obsessed, or I don't think Cappy, because he can get a little... Yeah, like he goes a little off, right? This somebody really fair, a good public speaker.
Robert David Steele?
Maybe.
Huh.
I don't know, but it feels like a male and a bit of a Libran personality, diplomatic.
So you say somebody that had went away, meaning somebody that left the stage that we think is dead and is not dead? Is that what you're leaning towards?
Yeah.
Or somebody who was in public life, kind of took a retirement. We don't see him speaking anymore, but then would come back. Is that what more you mean, or? People are talking about Julian Assange here in the background too.
Maybe it's not really someone who died that I can see here.
Okay,
just didn't see him for a long time.
Okay,
and somebody resurfaces, and this would make sense to Julian Assange.
Yeah,
or somebody like him, because this person could have journalistic ability. Mm-hmm. Very intelligent and a good, really like what does their homework, does their research.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. Let's leave it at that for now. That's interesting. A couple of news stories that we have to go back. You and I looked at this on the Monday show and the Wednesday show on pay-per-view, but still here in the live chat. And just before we start the show, a lot of people are asking us, like this one here, please do a read on Bongino and Patel. Well, that was interesting. So Bongino's out there in this interview with Kash Patel, and on one hand, they're saying there's no there's no big smoking gun for the Trump assassination attempts, like basically stop asking questions, which is kind of odd coming from those two guys. And the second part, which surprised most people, were the fact that these guys were saying, Epstein did suicide himself, and we know suicides when we see it, and that's what it was, and stop asking questions. So we pulled on this a couple of times already this week. Where did you do a world news or a quick draw on this also, Janine? What did you get recently with your community?
I did the world news, and I looked at them. A lot of people asked about it in my community section, and I always put it out there to the community and say, what do you guys want to talk about?
Right.
So we looked into them, and it looks like they're showing us, so White Hat Alliance is using these two. Okay, so they were using their brand again. They're not necessarily, they've had some shady bits in the past. Even though a lot of people wrote me and said, no. That is the second time I got that around these guys. So I'm going with the cards. I don't care what somebody's other opinion is. Honestly, I'm just like that. I'm going to listen to the cards because
Yep.
my first instinct when they put those big pictures of when Kash Patel was going to be the guy for the FBI, the front guy. Okay, they put this picture out of him, and his eyes were literally going in two directions, and everyone got mad at me because I pointed it out, and they were all like, okay, that's his natural, something's the matter with his eyes. Okay, that might be true, all of that, that's fine, but in a big public picture like that of a guy getting put forward for a role like that, they would have corrected the photograph, even if he has issues with his eyes.
They would have tried to take an angle where it's less apparent.
Yeah,
of course.
they got people for that.
Yeah.
Okay, they would never do that. Okay, they would never let it fly. Okay, so that was a calm, and I said that, and everybody got mad at me. But he was two different directions. So what does that say? I bet they even exaggerated it in the picture. And I'll tell you what that says to me. It's like he's been on both sides of the fence. Okay, so I feel like they're trying to say in the White Hat Alliance, this is a spiritual war. And a big part of it is that we need to learn not to put these people on pedestals or try to make them our hero. None of them are your hero. Okay, and also all Trump's picks, every single one of them, they're coming from careers in politics. So they're all compromised at some level, somehow, somewhere down the road. If you've heard of them for years in politics, they're like they've been deep. Were brought up in the deep state. That's how it works. They were educated in deep state colleges. That's how it works. Okay, even Trump hoity-toityed around. It could have even been educated in deep state colleges. I even get that his dad and mom were like maybe a deep state family, and there's actually a lot of evidence that could be a potential. Yeah. Okay, but we also did a deep dive on Trump, and we got that actually he was placed in that family, and he's been sort of like kind of created and tagged all along for the work he's doing. Okay, because they created Trump and then placed him in that family. They being, I believe, the alliance. But anyway, that's another deep dive. You'll have to go watch that video we did on his whole family. So, and he couldn't be compromised, even though he hoity-toityed around with these guys.
So, in essence, for both Kash Patel and Dan Bongino, what the cards seem to be suggesting is that they're doing in a sorts a walk of shame.
Yeah.
Like there's no other way to say it.
Yeah. They're showing you these guys have been all kinds of things, and they're not just perfect, and they've screwed up. And
can I ask then, if that's the case now, is that the extent of their appointments to the point to where Trump is going to say, okay, you're fired? Or do we see the walk of shame transfer into maybe them having to do the heavy lifting on some justice here that's going to be very difficult, that maybe most sane people would not want the job? For example, the Epstein file or whatever, right? So are they going to go from the walk of shame to a higher mandate, difficult tasks? Or did they go from a walk of shame, continue that for the education purposes of the population, to then just get sidelined and get fired by Trump? What do you see next for these two fellows? Let's put them all in the same pot for now, because it's not just these two. There's many of them on the roster who are placed, I believe, and I think, in the same way there for Trump. He seems to be having a record of doing that. Anyways, what do the cards say?
They could be weeks or months away from being sidelined. We're getting close to the end of when they're not needed, they get sidelined. Just think about that fellow I think he's the governor of Florida.
DeSantis.
Yeah, just think about him. So they went the whole circle with him. Everyone was touting him a big hero, but then when you really did your research, he was actually definitely deep state before. And then all of a sudden he was saying all the right things. It's a lot like that Canadian guy. What's his name there? From your neck of the woods, who was going up against Carney. What the heck's his name?
Pierre Poilievre.
Yeah, same thing. Yeah. Really, when you really look at that guy, no thanks, right? Saying all the right things, but then he didn't say the right things in the pandemic.
No, he paid. In my opinion, he paid lip service in the pandemic. He was asking at the end for the mandates to be removed and the mask mandates while wearing a mask in the house.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah.
and he wasn't necessarily the truckers' friends. Also, and then there's all the question about whether or not his wife and perhaps he also were involved in some of these contracts for PCR tests and all that stuff, which seems to still be scrubbed, but nobody really gave us a straight answer on that.
And even Danielle Smith,
in
Alberta, saying some right things, but then going after doctors that are definitely against big pharma system. And have done a lot of good, so they got the double-edged sword on these guys, and I feel like that's what they're doing, and they're gonna once they're done with them. So these guys are capitulated, and they're just working with the team until their contract's up. I'm giving it 3 maybe months, maybe weeks.
Okay. Marine Mom says, yeah, my gosh, so much bullshit. Yeah, there's a lot of bullshit going around. It's being sprayed evenly and thick all around. So bring your umbrella and your rubber boots and your coat, your raincoat, and maybe some goggles. I think you need the goggles. Janine, you mentioned something, though, that they might not be here for too long. Speaking of Kash Patel and Dan Bongino. Remember a couple of weeks ago, it made the mainstream news. They were trying to put a divide between Elon Musk and Donald Trump. And it was suggested, there were rumors that inside the Trump group that they would be pushing out Elon at some point here. We read on that back then, and people were asking us if that was true. And there was a there. There was an expiry date on that role at Doge, whether he was going to move parallel to this new Golden Dome situation. Maybe he was going to accelerate some of the programs to Mars. We're not sure exactly, but we haven't looked at it since, and we haven't heard anything since from the White House also. Do you want to just do a reshuffle there and look at Elon Musk? Because at that time, it looked like he didn't have too long to stay there at Doge, that he might be replaced. What's the status on that one, Janine? Hey guys, let us know where you're watching from in the chat, and check it out. Carla from Ascension Organites is in the chat now tonight too. And guys, there's a brand new promotion for Father's Day coming up there. Let me see if I can bring that on the screen while Janine is pulling the cards here. Let's celebrate the Divine Masculine. Spend $75 or more and get 1 entry. So this is for this big Father's Day giveaway sale. Check it out there at ascensionorganites.com. If you use the code Father's Day 50 there, you get 25% off. Amazing discounts and a lot of amazing products there for your lovely father for the Father's Day coming up soon. So check it out, ascensionorganites.com. And a little bit later in the show today too, we're giving away some amazing candles and also an amazing organite pyramid. This is the astrology series here. So coming up a little bit later into the show, we'll do those giveaways as well. Janine, Elon Musk.
They still got a little use for him. Yeah, he's got a couple more maybe big scenes in the movie here. Okay, but he's also really ultimately going to disappoint. But it'll help educate a lot of people. Because again, if you look at he's got to be a mask wearer. He was a MK Ultra'd from a young boy, from what I get, and his whole family is like such cult people. Like they're in the cult.
Okay, so he's a hanger on, so to speak.
Yeah, he's hanging on for a couple more big splashes here.
Okay.
In particular, I don't know what they're about, but 2 different things that he's really important for. But he hasn't been that much in front lately.
Can you clarify also if he's advising more perhaps on this Golden Dome thing than he is Doge right now?
Yep. You bet. And maybe something about, I don't know, adrenochrome?
Yeah, that too. Wow.
Yeah. I don't know, or something about the human trafficking, and
it's very possible. You know how Meta, a lot of people were accusing them of running or letting child trafficking networks run on their platforms. We're talking about Facebook and Instagram and all that. Presumably, this would have been happening also on Twitter. And that was a big reason why the sale of Twitter was opposed vehemently towards Elon Musk, and why he had said, hey, he didn't buy a company, he had inherited a crime scene. So that adrenochrome stuff and those networks might be coming up there on that level. Very interesting. Okay, people are asking about Tartaria. I want to get back to that in a minute. That was 23rd Aquarian. But before I do that, we need to go back to this Golden Dome situation here. So Trump is suggesting here an amalgamation of different technologies. Some we've heard of before. He talked about this in his speech. Some we've never heard of before. And he says that this defense is required for, long-range ballistic missiles coming from other countries and other weapons, and perhaps from space. He actually said that. We were parsing his words very carefully. And that's what Janine and I were thinking about, that this Iron Dome, really the situation, had something to do with the threat coming from outer space. Funny enough, Carney also, this was 2 weeks ago after his meeting with Trump at the White House, he praised President Trump for being a quote-unquote transformative president, and that Mr. Trump was working for global security. And I thought the choice of word was very interesting, because you and I, Janine, when we were looking at the amalgamation or annexation of Canada, Greenland, the Gulf of America, and the Panama Canal, we thought at that time, this was before Christmas here, that Trump was starting to create this North American economic security zone of sorts. But Carney seemed to be confirming in his tweets that it's not just North America, it's worldwide. And so when we were looking at these tariff wars in the last couple of months, you and I kept getting like, this is not what this is all about. There's something else behind all of that. And now we're starting to see this picture here with this Golden Dome. If in fact it's a planetary defense system, if in fact Trump is correct when he's saying, and also to protect us from things coming from space, maybe the tariff negotiations was just that, a way to have people come to the table to pay and to be part of this bigger planetary defense system. It seems to be shaping that way. And I say that now in recap because Jenny and I have read on this on Monday and Wednesday, but we wanted to share that with you here on the live show on Thursday night. So where do you want to start on this one, Janine? Do you want to recap so far what you got on the world news? And also, I think it was mostly your world news. I don't think you looked at it on the Quick Draw Thursday, but what you think this dome is really about. And then I'll ask you a series of questions of the status, and perhaps the money behind it, and why we're not getting budgets here in Canada. Also, we're not getting the transparency. Something's happening in a frantic way to fund this thing right now. But Janine, just fill in the gaps here is what you've already captured this week.
Yeah. So the main card that kept coming up as the past was the Three of Swords. So a viable threat of some kind. Swords are thoughts and words. So they heard or hearing something that was going to be harmful or hurtful to humanity. And then we looked at, that's when I asked, what the heck are they building this thing for? Is it all just a fake? It looks like they've already built it. That was also in the cards, that it's already been done, or at least a large amount of it. Maybe not every aspect of it, but it's well on its way to be even being functioning to some degree. And we also got that, it was very much linked in with maybe that world, or what we thought anyway, was that North American, whoops, there's my light just went out.
It's okay.
I guess I'll just be dark. That North American sort of situation that we'd been talking about. So it also nodded to that. So a lot of what you said, and then just add, that it looks like it's already been started. And it also looks like it's exactly what we thought it was, even at Christmas. A threat came up that looks like it's off-world, other dimensional, or just non-local. Okay, that's how I'll say it. And they're protecting us, and they're also gathering monies and or maybe not money, resources, to fund it and or get everybody involved, let's say. So making people sign up and stuff all over the world. And that might have been what he was doing in the Middle East partly.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Now, okay, I'm going to play the clip here too, because I want you guys to hear it from the horse's mouth. We're going to try to parse some of his words when he says across the world and even space, right? It's there in the text above the video. I thought that was interesting because in this video, he says that the system should be fully operational, I believe he said, quote unquote, by the end of his term. And when we picked up on this in the last 2 weeks, it's not the end of the term. Part of it is already operational now, and there is also an off-world component to where there's technology being deployed in this Golden Dome system that are not all Earth-bound. So we were getting satellites, perhaps Elon Musk satellites are involved in this, perhaps orbital platforms are involved, perhaps the moon, perhaps all the way out to Mars as an early warning radar defense system mechanism as well. So it's much more involved than we thought it was. And it's funny because during, I think it was December or maybe January, I did a video with you, and I remember having a lunch with a gentleman who was saying, because I was trying to explain to him, oh, Trump's erratic. The news was saying Trump is erratic. We can't negotiate with the madman, blah, blah. Why doesn't he just tell us, JC, what he wants, because these tariffs don't make sense. I'm like, well, what if he's reacting to a threat and he's trying to bring people together and money together to defend against that threat? Do you think they're ready to tell that to the main population? Right? How do you start having that conversation? So instead, we have all this rhetoric of elbows up and all that bullshit, the tariff wars, because that's easy for people to to associate with and to understand, right? Yeah. And now we're getting, had nothing to do with the tariffs. If you look at what Canada just capitulated to Trump, they've removed pretty much all the counter tariffs. So did the UK, so did China. They're all agreeing now with Trump on this new way moving forward. We're seeing that momentum now in the last couple of weeks. So again, there was something more behind this, and that appears to be done in the sense that these deals are being made in the background now, and the situation seems to have equalized itself, if we want to put it that way. Good recap so far, Janine?
Yep, really good.
Okay, let's play the clip from Mr. Trump, and we'll come back and we'll ask some questions. The volume's a little bit low on this one. I think it's captured on TV, but hopefully you guys can hear it okay.
I am pleased to announce that we have officially selected an architecture for this state-of-the-art system that will deploy next-generation technologies across the land, sea, and space, including space-based sensors and interceptors. And Canada has called us, and they want to be a part of it. So we'll be talking to them. They want to have protection also. So as usual, we help Canada do the best we can. This design for the Golden Dome will integrate with our existing defense capabilities and should be fully operational before the end of my term. So we'll have it done in about 3 years. Once fully constructed, the Golden Dome will be capable of intercepting missiles, even if they are launched from other sides of the world, and even if they are launched from space. And we will have the best system ever built. As you know, we helped Israel with theirs, and it was very successful. And now we have technology that's even far advanced from that, but including hypersonic missiles, ballistic missiles, and advanced cruise missiles. All of them will be knocked out of the air. We will truly be completing the job that President Reagan started 40 years ago, forever ending the missile threat to the American homeland, and the success rate is very close to 100%, which is incredible when you think of it. You're shooting bullets out of the air. I'm also pleased to report that the One Big Beautiful Bill will include $25 billion for the Golden Dome to help construction get underway. That's the initial sort of a down deposit. And we have probably, you're talking about, General, we're talking about $175 billion total cost of this when it's completed.
Big expenditure, not a lot of details there, and yet nobody's asking him, why suddenly do we need this? But he gave you a clue. He talked about Reagan. Remember Reagan at the UN talking about how world differences would, the world would come together if they had an external threat. And then in that same speech, you said, but isn't an external threat already here among us? Okay, let's do a card pull there, Janine. Is that the tip of the hat that Trump is trying to tell us right now? We're going back to that speech, into that scenario, and we're finalizing some of those plans based on that rhetoric of the time of the UN speech?
Yeah. And didn't I get that download? Was it with you? I got the download that I think it's to stop Elohim and or other dimensional or world beings, other beings, to come and collect humans. To stop the collection for use of, they use us for food.
Yeah, you said it was something having to do with preventing the smash and grabs. Those ETs that come here quickly, grab stuff, including humans, and get out from underneath the radar before we can do anything about it.
Mm-hmm. And governments have agreed to a certain amount and to keep a blind eye.
Yeah.
And that's been a conspiracy out there for years. And I think all these conspiracies are turning out to be true. So, yeah.
Crazy.
Right. So if they're ending this planet being a slave planet. So if we look at what we think they've been doing here for years, that could be part of it. Now they've got to have a preventative thing.
Yeah.
Some of these, even if it's rogue elements of these, because they feel entitled to humanity.
Yeah. Fascinating. This is the speech I was referring to, President Reagan's address at the United Nations in New York City, New York, at September 21st, 1987, where he talks about that external threat. Mm-hmm. So the poll we're doing now is whether or not Trump was referring to that, bringing us back there to hat tip for those in the woo to understand what this dome is truly, really about. Janine.
So I think what Reagan was talking about was maybe someone just sat him down and read him in on Khazarian Mafia, Elohim, bankers being like Illuminati, stuff like that, because that's what he was talking about, according to this card. So that would be like we're living with that threat because there's non-humans or, there's reptilian race living here. Like, maybe he just got read in on that. Mm-hmm. Okay, but here's what Trump was referring to, and it's way past that. So we're in totally new territory with totally new information that's completely this is old info, and we're way past it.
Okay.
Yeah. So I think
that is the stepping stone to even more. You've been getting that every time on this Golden Globe that this is big. Mm-hmm. It's known about. It's I don't want to say the word scary, but you said it was of grave concern to them. It's not a small threat. They all understand that it's a big threat, and that it takes a big endeavor to defend against it. Keep going.
Mm-hmm. And that is a defensive card. Mm-hmm. Okay, so they're definitely defending against something that's really unique. So it's not something really like that everyday people would know about. So this is not, so I don't think it's any other countries or any of those normal things that you would think, oh, we got to protect against China, or we got to protect against Russia, or we got to whatever you want to say. No, it's none of that. It's something totally unique. And we've never been here before. Mm-hmm. Okay. And Reagan was just the start of that, where maybe he was just figuring out the minions. Mm-hmm. Or maybe someone had just read them in on who's running the world, but they're running the world for even this bigger threat is what I think. So, yeah. So here we've got the Page of Pentacles. So the near future, we're going to get more on this, so we should keep a real close eye. I even think within May, we're going to get a nice big drop. He's going to give us a big clue towards what we're talking about here, or even a nod towards our information being correct, because it looks like celebration around info correct here, like some kind of information. And it's just even a little nod, but I feel like let's watch for something that's said out there, officialdom, because it does look official, but it's just a small little thing. It's not going to be like they'll tell us everything, but they're going to definitely say something out there, and we'll know we're on the right track, it says.
Okay. Now, we can't do this segment without trying to tie in, and this is where my brain is going, in terms of that external threat or a potential to it, or at least a factor in all of this. Perhaps is the signal that the space Voyager station had returned back to the NASA computers there back in October of last year, which was analyzed by their quantum computer using the Sycamore chip, qubit chip or quantum chip. Now, Michio Kaku has done quite a few videos on this, if you want to go watch his YouTube channel, but it sparked the conversation, and also a Substack from Cliff High from a couple of weeks ago that was entitled Get Your Noodle Twisted, I think was the title of it. And damn, did we get our noodle twisted when he talked about it. So essentially, if you haven't seen that show, and I'm going to be revisiting this and more information on the show here with Cliff on Sunday night for the next Wacky Woo, Voyager would have picked up a signal, a structured signal, not just space noise, would have brought back to Earth. That signal would have been decoded, so to speak, by the Sycamore chip on this quantum computer. And the information that came back from Voyager jumped from the information components of the computer into the processor and ordered the processor to change its operation and produce an image. Okay, twist your noodle there with that. The image apparently was of a humanoid shape, and the 3 or 4 human scientists who saw the image had their whole brain physiognomy changed by it. And so they're saying, uh-oh. And also they've shut down the computer. This went dark. They don't want to talk about it anymore. Something happened there. And now there's a bunch of rogue scientists who are talking about this and suggesting that perhaps something has been installed into humanity. If you go back a couple of weeks, there was a new series of The Black Mirror on Netflix. And there's one episode in particular where this guy is talking to this AI entity, whatever, for 30 years. And eventually his only job is to be captured, brought into a police station. He writes down an image on a file, and the video cameras in the room see the image, and that image tells the supercomputer what to do, and then it affects everybody in the room and everywhere else around the world. So life imitating art, art imitating life, I don't know. But apparently this has gotten all of our scientists in a bind, in a twist. Nobody's talking about it, but nonetheless, it's permeating through humanity. And those scientists who had their mind altered by this particular image are part of this human consciousness field on the planet. And presumably, they might be installing that software, whether they know it or not, to their friends and families and throughout the social order. So this has to be something that is brought in now to the context of this golden dome. Janine, let's do a poll to see if any of that somehow correlates to the threat. Is it a tangent and also type of situation? Is it, oh no, actually that's a big part of it, and that's why everybody's on freak out ever since? Because those tariffs came in end of last year, just after this announcement or this discovery was made. What do you see?
Oh boy. It's definitely part of it. You better believe it. Those are really heavy hitting cards. Okay. We've got a major arcana first, which is a yes, and then an ace of pentacles. Okay. And I feel like they knew about this. So even though those scientists just discovered it, I feel like this was known before that. I think the Alliance already knew about this. And I think that scientist is just behind the 8 ball, getting that info.
Cliff was saying something earlier today. I think it was let me see if I can share this with you guys. Just to that effect. This video here, many questions on his Substack. He was suggesting that perhaps we knew where to find that. And that was in old Sanskrit text somewhere. And this was specifically why we sent Voyager all the way out there to try to pick up this message. So it could be that this is deep into the woo of officialdom, and they were actually looking for it. But now that they found it and confirmed it, more information could have came through that message other than that image that we don't know about that has not yet been disclosed to humanity. And this is why it has everybody in a frantic race now for this golden dome. So keep going. You have big yeses there, but get the to the bottom row there.
Yeses, and maybe that dome is to control how it is relates to humanity, like control how much access they have. I get the word access.
How much access humanity has to space or to the information, you mean?
So the energy that wants to communicate and changes human minds by doing so. Okay, so the dome is to protect from how much access it has. It's to protect from that. That's part of it.
From that signal. Okay.
But the signal, they're working with this. The signal is an entity they know of, it looks like. And they're working with it, but they also want some shelter from it. They don't want it all just overtaking.
When you first looked at this, do you remember what you said about the signal itself? Because we talked about, was it a DNA trigger for humanity? Was it a trigger of sorts to up-level us to the new game? Kind of like, okay, this is a construct. We live in the construct. We can consider a solar system a construct. And then when we reach a certain point, that construct built in has different triggers to bring you to the next level into the game, like Super Mario or whatever.
Yeah.
Okay. So we got that signal was something akin to that. And did you get that it was beneficial for humanity or not beneficial for humanity? I don't remember. It was convoluted.
It was beneficial. Yeah, it was beneficial, but it's scary.
Beneficial, but scary.
You got to be ready for it, and you got to be spiritually advanced to receive it properly.
I remember. That's why we had the fingers of God and the Michelangelo painting saying, "Are you ready to have to be touched by this information?" Okay, I remember that conversation. And now, so if it's beneficial for humanity, why then are they trying to shield us from it? Do clarifiers there.
Yeah, it feels like it's got something to do with maybe assuming our readiness. We're not quite ready. That's what it feels like.
You can't handle the truth.
This is a stance of looking at something from a safe perspective. Okay, so they see the potential. So that card's a really big gateway potential. It could really upgrade or upscale something. You could get through a huge gateway, but there's a safety connection here. So so they wanna slow it down and control it a little. Not take it right out, but slow it down and control it. So they can have some kind of control over how fast it happens, or
okay. So on one hand,
manage it.
So there's many angles here to this Iron Dome. We're getting the physical stuff of stopping the smash and grabs, the abductions, blah blah blah, getting early warnings for that stuff. But there's also, for lack of better terms, an energetic fence or a frequency field or a shield of sorts that would prevent, mitigate, or slow down some of these messages coming to affect, infect, install into humans.
Yeah. So take it down a few notches. So maybe they're deeming it, and I get it's the Alliance deemed it as too dangerous. So they've been checking up on us all through even the pandemic. I feel like there was a whole bunch of psyops where they were trying to understand how available humans are to be as upgraded as And I think some of us are ready, but a whole bunch of us aren't.
I
So
saw a
that's
whole
for people because, now they're making decisions for everybody. But,
I saw a whole bunch of people dancing with their elbows up during the campaign here in Canada. I'm assuming those people weren't ready, Janine. Oh my God. Okay. I don't know about you, but I feel smackereled by this information.
I'm smackereled.
Like, okay, I have to go re-listen to what I just asked you and what you just responded here, because that's it's not just world changing, it's humanity changing. It's suggesting, and get me if maybe let's do another poll on this. It's suggesting right now that we're on the verge or on the precipice of change, not just in direction of where humanity is going, but also a change of who we are, essentially where we're from, our understanding of all that. It seems that everything is going to change with this information coming out, and we're just on the verge of it. And perhaps that's why they're trying to delay it, prevent it, slow it down a little bit, to maybe ease that change. Because imagine the slack-jawed people, and this ties into what Joni Patry was saying in her astrology video just 2 days ago. People would just be slack-jawed here with the information coming out, not handling what the hell's just happening.
And that card, I'll just say, because it was in there, I feel like, and this is why I'm reading it, and also all the cards were really positive. So it's not a negative. And even the Alliance isn't seeing it as negative. Okay. But I feel like it would take people to this degree of woo that could be really uncomfortable for some of them. So
Yeah.
I feel like the people that need the smack roll, they're giving them a little more time. And this dome might help with that. It'll help in lots of ways, but I feel like it'll help that way too.
Okay.
Yeah.
So not ready for the woo part.
And how intuitive we're going to be. Like, I feel like when they say those scientists got their brain altered, probably what happened, if you think about it, so they're gritologists, they're all into that theory.
Yeah.
Okay. And like, so you'll have to go watch more of Cliff High stuff to understand that.
Yeah.
But and I'm not saying I understand it or anything, but what I'm hearing about it is that they completely base all their stuff in this way of understanding things that's actually wrong. Okay.
Yeah, the
And
opposite.
the real way, and that rings really true to me, and also my cards agree with Cliff on that.
Yeah.
Okay, so if that's the kind of people that this thing affected, okay, maybe what happened was they realized intuitively all the stuff we're seeing, and even more so.
Yeah.
And that their whole world's built on falsehood. NASA's like a big cover up for dark ops. Money for dark ops, and a whole bunch of stuff about what shape the world is and how it's actually, does it spin or not spin, or what the heck's happening. All the things that they base all of their truths on are lies, most likely.
Right.
Okay, because we've realized that a whole bunch of stuff's lies, right? They're your whole history. So these people were educated in that gritology, and they just had their brain altered.
Upended.
Yeah, maybe they're sitting around contemplating their navel as we speak, and
they're probably still drooling.
Everything they thought was true isn't. Maybe they're even going down rabbit holes, and it might have that effect on people. But it could be they could be just managing it so it doesn't blow people's brains off.
Like, I have doctors who tell me that tarot cards are black magic, right? That's the gritology speaking. Imagine these doctors, these PhDs who had this information, their brains transform, realize that, oh my God, no, actually it's the ontology. Everything is consciousness.
Okay, and not be outed. Or is he part of the white hat plan to out these agendas? Like, which one is it? Who's he working for? That's what I want to know. Okay, we got a big ace here. That's interesting. Oh yeah, this guy's working with Trump. Right away, that's a Trump card, by the way, and right away that's an ace. So he's read in with Trump, And I'm not saying it's actually the original guy. A lot of these people are brands at this point. Okay. And that's as good as been proven, you guys. There's so many videos out there. Go do your research that these people are mask wearing and they're just a brand. Most people in politics right now, in my opinion, all across the world, they're using their brands and they're not actually the original peoples. And if they are the originals, they are read in on the script. Do you know what I'm saying? What's going on here? Yeah. So yeah, this guy is he's going to be part of the solution by outing and allowing himself to do that walk of shame there. Okay. He's actually outing what this agenda is. So really fascinating. And it's so tricky out there. And a lot of things are going to change really soon. Okay. And a lot of people will understand what was really happening. It's not quite time to understand. See that surrender card? It says we have to surrender. We're 80% through this theater. Oh my goodness. I'm hoping it ends this summer. I really do. Okay. So that is absolutely fascinating. So that guy was part of outing what the agenda is. So the latest agenda, of course, is to make it okay to let you see that liberals and people like the Democrats and all of the people across the world that are of that mind, so globalists, I'll say, and people in the woke culture, all of those people don't want to talk about white genocide, but they're really, really happy to talk about anybody else's genocide. Okay, but if you're white, basically, screw you. We're not going to talk about that. It's absolutely absurd. Okay, we're all humans, and we got to stop this. Okay, because it's really the deep state against humanity. That's what's really going on. It's way bigger. Okay, so it's we absolutely got to stop this stupidity, right? That's been going on. And anyone signaled out, that that's an agenda by the deep state. So we can't fall for it anymore, people. We're smarter than that. Okay, we're smarter than that. All right. Okay. Wow, that was fascinating. Let's have a look at what's going on here. This is the dowsing workshop. Pendulum 101 with Ashella. She's giving 50% off on this workshop, and I know it's a good one. Ashella always brings it in the information department. So this would be on the Academy, the Beyond Mystic Academy. You want to go check that out. Just use dowsing 50 and it'll get you your 50% off with that code. Also, Carla on her Ascension Organites website is a percentage. Now, this is interesting because as you shop, it starts off with 25%, but I believe it multiplies depending on your how much you're spending. I'm not sure about that, but let's say for sure you're getting 25% off, and I think it can even multiply depending on how much you're shopping there. So that's the Father's Day giveaway. Yeah, lots of goodies on that website. Go check it out. All right. So our second question. Now, this one, interesting. I was going to say talk about something else, but then somebody put in the comments before the show even started. They said something really interesting, and I was like, you know what? That is something I could talk about. And I quickly got Coco looking up a few things. We're going to look at spiritual ramifications of getting the jab. So first, I'll tell you what I believe about what was happening. So with the rollout of what they called vaccinations, which of course we know weren't, we know they were like a death shot. Okay. In the COVID-19, the fake pandemic era. And when they were first pushing these jabs, so for years I've been looking at this, and what the cards divulged or consistently, by the way, I got that not all of the jabs were actually the poison. Okay. I feel like a percentage were, and there were certain hot spots that would get the poisonous ones, and maybe even certain demographics or groups of people. Okay. So maybe athletes for sure, because they were dropping dead on the field. shortly after they got their jab. So they chose certain people to really go after. Okay. And there was hot batches, and I believe maybe a 30%, where 30% of those batches were poisonous, but a lot of people got placebos, in my opinion, and according to what the card said. So not everybody that was jabbed actually got the bad stuff. Now, that's just what I was getting for years. So I'll just catch you up to date on that theory of mine and also what the card said. Now, with that in consideration, what the person's asking is spiritually, so people that got the bad stuff, so got jabbed and it was actually the real poison, those people, how does that affect them spiritually? What happens? And let's have a little quick listen maybe to this video here, just a few minutes of this, and see what kind of get the idea of what I'm talking about.
What Tina said about the change in personality, depression, and all these things, this is very real. And we have identified the reasons from the theory, and some doctors in Italy have, some pathologists have confirmed that the spike protein unfortunately attacks and destroys also the endocrine system. So the glands producing hormones, and hormones are what make our emotions and feelings and all those things. And so an Italian pathologist near Venice, he went on a newspaper telling that all the brains he had investigated, he found the pineal gland completely destroyed.
Whoa, let's stop it there, Coco. Thank you. Thanks for that, Coco. Fascinating. So the pineal gland, which is, of course, your third eye, it's right here. And it's what all of the elite sort of cult members want. Okay, so they want that. Okay, that's a precious thing to them. And they want it closed in all of us, right? So they want that shut down. That's why poison in the food. That's why poison in the shots, probably all vaccinations. And that's just my opinion. Call me whatever you want. I'm talking about my opinion right now. I wouldn't go near anything put out by Big Pharma. And that's my opinion. Okay, I'm not a medical professional, but oh my goodness. Okay, if they're doing this, what else are they doing? You got to ask yourself. Okay, so they've been closing down people's third eye. That's your connection to source. That's your intuitive knowing. Okay, so this guy's saying, and a lot of other people have investigated this, that it literally cuts you off and destroys your third eye. In other words, your intuitive. That's how I make my living, by the way, my third eye. And that's how all of us survive this crazy place, this matrix we're in, is by keeping this sharp. Okay, it's really hard to survive without that. And so if they're cutting people off from that or destroying that part of them, that is spiritually, that's a spiritual attack on humanity. You better believe it. So let's have a look at, is that actually the case with those? And I'm going to talk about the original jabs that were put out, okay, in 2020, 2021, 2022, 2023, and 2024, because what I've been getting lately is a lot of that's in the background with the White Hat Alliance been cleaned up. So you're getting a lot of the placebos if you're still getting it, but that's in no way me saying you should go anywhere near any kind of jabs. Okay, so not a medical professional, but I do not advocate as a human, just as myself, an intuitive knowing. I just wouldn't go near them, even if the White Hat Alliance might be cleaning some of those up. Right? You just don't want to take any kind of chances with yourself or your loved ones. Okay, so let's have a look at, is that actually what's going on there? The jabs, were they designed originally? Because we know the deep state designed them to kill a large amount of the peoples. We know the globalists, they designed those jabs to do that. And they designed the whole pandemic shutdown to actually drive everybody to taking the jabs, even if it was against their better judgment. A lot of them got forced into it. jobs were going to be lost. They wouldn't be able to go to school. My son took 2 jabs because, and he's an adult, so I couldn't make him not, you know what I mean? It hurt me so bad to hear he was doing it, because he wanted to go to university and they weren't going to let him. Like, that's the kind of pressure they were putting people under. And so in no way are we blaming anyone if they did go ahead and take those shots. Okay. But after things got known out there, you absolutely would have needed to now think for yourself. And at this point, people need to be thinking for themselves. But let's have a look and see, were those designed to spiritually absolutely shut you off from your soul? And is that happening to people who got the bad ones? Okay. Which in my opinion was about 30% of those jabs. Okay, let's have a look. My thoughts are the White Hat Alliance found out that what they were up to. And remember when Trump went to all the pharmaceutical companies? I feel like he arranged it or shut down a lot of the poison, okay, which is why only 30% of that got out. Okay, I feel like the war was full on hot right then. The spiritual war we're in, the information war, and Trump being the lead in the White Hat Alliance and or being their front, I believe he went and said, we know what you're up to, and a lot of those pharmaceutical companies backed off putting out the poison, but some of the poison still got out. That's my theory based in readings over the years. Okay, just to catch you up on what I thought about it. Okay, so we're looking at, does it cut you off? So like I said, 70% of the bad jabs got shut down, okay? So we can thank the White Hat Alliance and Trump leading the way there. And I believe Trump's more used as a brand, just so you understand how I think. Okay, nobody's my hero and nobody's my idol, and I don't believe in king of the world or any of that, but I believe they went to Trump a long time ago and asked him to be the front for this. And he said yes. So I can absolutely appreciate and thank him for that. But again, nobody's your guru. Nobody's like, we need to stop idolizing people and putting them on pedestals. He's doing amazing work, so I can be thankful and absolutely do what I can as well. Okay, so I'm not trying to make a hero out of anybody, just so you know how I think. Okay, so in the past, we've got the Queen of Pentacles there. Yeah, they knew about it. They shut down 70%. And it absolutely a yes on the question, which is, were they meant to take you out of your intuitive, and so, in other words, away from your spiritual knowing. So connection to spirit, that was the whole idea. So your 30% was absolutely to cut you off from your spiritual. Okay, so it didn't work that well. And about 50% of those 30% of all the jobs, so 50% of the bad jobs, so 50% of the 30%, okay, because that card says some of it was hit and miss. Some of them didn't work at all. So you will see, yeah, and that's another nod to 50, so 50%. You will see that some of the people that got the 30% of the bad jobs, and we don't know exactly which batches were the bad ones. Some people claim to know. I don't know exactly, of course. Okay, but you will see that there is a percentage of people out there in the world that got the jabs, or even several of them, because that puts you at risk. The more you get and the more boosters to getting the bad stuff, right? Of course, right? So I believe that a percentage of those will absolutely be cut off from their souls. Now I'm going to ask a further question. Is there something can be done about that out there? Because I know a lot of people are claiming to have a cure for, or able to step you back and reclaim some of that, you know, the health of the pineal gland. I hope I said that right. Pineal, I think. Anyway, yeah, you guys know I got a thing with word. I must be a dyslexic that way, because I just can't say certain words. Okay, so let's have a look at, is there ways they can step that back? I think a lot of intuitive people are likely what they call dyslexic. Okay. But I think it's probably that's a word they use, but I feel like it's maybe a gift in disguise. So I'm not a bit shy to say the word. Maybe I'm dyslexic, like a lot of us are, especially intuitive people that can't be programmed. I feel like I can't be programmed because I can't even say their spell-casted words properly. That's probably a good thing. Okay, let's have a look here. So, yeah, it's going to take time. It's going to take time, and you need to really balance out a lot of things. You'll also need to absolutely know in your heart what happened. So you'll need to be aware of and become awakened to the fact that something was done to you. And you'll have to become aware or admit that this was an agenda. You'll have to start going down some rabbit holes. You'll actually have to do some of your research and homework. I feel like if you just go ahead and try taking the cures without actually following the real science around what happened to you, and maybe looking into psychologically what was done to humanity, that kind of thing. I feel like you have to become sort of get involved in the truther world, go down the rabbit holes. For this for it to work, you have to be spiritually, intuitively agree that something's messing with me. Okay, so you might have enough intuitive connectedness at the point. Okay, and some people may not at this point, so they won't ever be able to reclaim it. But some people will be able to reclaim it, but it'll take work on their part. Spiritual work, intuitive work, and verbally admitting, at least even to themselves, that their governments, their pharmaceutical company, or the world's pharmaceutical companies, the medical system, all these systems are infiltrated and actually trying to kill humanity. They'll actually have to figure that out. So if you're not there and you're trying to heal yourself, I feel like you're going to need to do it 100%. So all around, understand the whole situation. Yeah. And it'll be shocking to a lot of people. And when people find out, so even that small percentage, it's going to be shocking for them to find out. And some of them will be too late. I feel like they will have lost connectedness this lifetime anyway. Okay. But others obviously will be able to step it back. And there is a lot of things out there. But the first thing is admitting what happened and looking into the whys of it and why that happened and why that all, you're going to need to educate yourself. And come on over to this platform and the Truther platforms and have a look at what's been going on. Start in on the rabbit holes. In that case, I feel like that combined with some of the cures out there, I feel like you'll be able to step it back. Wow. Thank you so much. And thanks for whoever put that question in the comments early, even before the show started. I look at the comments, you guys. I read your comments, and I'm so appreciative of all your input. I'm telling you, the digital soldiers out there, you guys are why I'm doing this. And my whole website is absolutely full of digital soldiers. And I'm just so proud of humanity, frankly, the amount of people waking up. It's just awesome. We got to remember what's good happening out there instead of just always the dreary. Okay. Thanks again, everybody. Sending you all ravens. I love you guys. And Hawa.
Cậu thì đã xử lý anh. Sáng đã ăn no, nhưng đi bộ nhiều quá nên cô đói cồn cào. Cô uống nước để nước đầy bụng, nhưng đó là biểu tình xéo lên sõng tai, khiến cô ngại đỏ mặt giải thích. Hồi sáng em ăn no lắm mà không hiểu sao bây giờ đã đói rồi ạ. Nói xong bụng cô lại xéo thêm một tràng nữa. Cô giơ tay che đi khuôn mặt đang đỏ bừng của mình. Nào chúng ta đi ăn thôi, thầy cũng đói rồi. Đi trên sân trường, sinh viên chào hỏi họ khá lễ phép. Cô thấy hầu như đều là trai xinh gái đẹp hết. Điển hình như ba người vừa nói chuyện ở ngoài cửa. Cả ba người họ cũng rất đẹp. Có nhóm sinh viên viết chuyện cô mất tích. nên đã đứng lại hỏi thăm. Nhưng cô để mặc Tô Đức trả lời, còn mình vẫn đi theo thầy Hà. Vừa ra đến cổng học viện, cô gặp ba người lúc nãy. Chị Duy cười tươi chào hai thầy và Di An. Hai thầy và Di An đi đâu vậy ạ? Thầy đưa Di An đi ăn trưa. Các em ăn không? Đi cùng luôn cho vui. Cả ba người họ gật đầu cái rụp nhanh hơn cả chớp mắt. Sao anh thân với sinh viên vậy? Anh làm việc ở đây nên quen thân với sinh viên là bình thường mà. Cô gật đầu tán thành. Cái bụng đói quá đã bắt đầu ấm ách đau nên cô im lặng đi. Ba người họ đi cùng Tô Đức nói chuyện bằng tiếng Trung. Cô không hiểu gì nên lặng lặng đi theo thầy Hà. Thỉnh thoảng cô thấy thầy quay sang nhìn cô tủm tỉm cười thì nghe họ nói chuyện. Cô tò mò nhờ thầy dịch. Nhưng thầy lắc đầu nói đó là chuyện của đàn ông. Im lặng mãi làm cô cảm giác bụng đau hơn nên bắt chuyện với thầy. Sinh viên trường mình hầu như đều rất đẹp thầy nhỉ. Đây sẽ là những diễn viên tương lai nên vấn đề ngoại hình rất được xem trọng và cũng là một tiêu chí chọn lựa của trường. Thầy thấy em cũng rất xinh đẹp, có khi còn hơn cả sinh viên trường thầy nữa. Nếu em tham gia vào nghề này chắc sẽ nổi tiếng đấy. Nếu em có ý định theo học thì thầy giúp em. Dạ không ạ, em muốn sống bình yên thôi thầy ơi. Cậu bạn có thân hình hơi tròn đi lên ngay cạnh cô bắt chuyện. Chào cậu, tôi là Ngô Minh, có thể làm quen với cậu chứ? Cậu ta nói tiếng Trung, thấy cậu ta chìa tay ra thì cô đoán là cậu ta đang muốn làm quen. Cô gật đầu mỉm cười giơ tay ra bắt. Cậu ta tiếp lời, nếu cậu muốn đi đâu chơi thì cứ nói. Mùa này Bắc Kinh đẹp lắm nên tôi rất vui nếu được đưa cậu đi tham quan. Lần này thì cô ngơ ngác thật sự. Chỉ Duy đi sau bật cười thành tiếng giải vây. Di An không biết tiếng Trung đâu, cậu bắn chàng dài vậy sao mà cô ấy hiểu được. Ngô Minh gãi đời ngượng ngùng chuyển sang nói tiếng Anh. Xin lỗi cậu nhé. Cô mỉm cười. Ồ không sao đâu, cậu cứ tự nhiên. Họ đến một quán ăn khá rộng bên đường. Vừa vào quán, mùi thức ăn đã thơm phức làm cho bụng cô réo liên hồi. Quán khá đông người. Nhìn qua các món ăn thì cô thấy món nào cũng đỏ ngầu vì ớt. Tô Đức gọi phục vụ đến gọi món. Anh đặc biệt gọi cho cô những món ít cay. Ba sinh viên ngồi đối diện cô và thầy của họ. Cả ba thỉnh thoảng lại nhìn cô chằm chằm. Quán ăn đông khách nhưng lại phục vụ khá nhanh. Chỉ 10 phút sau khi gọi thì thức ăn đã được bày lên bàn cùng một vài chai nước có màu sắc mát. Vì khát nên cô mời mọi người rồi cầm uống một hơi hết nửa chai. Hạ chai xuống, cô bất ngờ khi thấy tất cả 10 con mắt đang trợn lên nhưng có phần sắp mặt vậy. Cô cười gượng, khuôn mặt đỏ lên vì xấu hổ. Xin lỗi mọi người, tại vừa khát nước quá nên hơi thất lễ và nước này ngon quá. Tô Đức cầm chai lên nhìn rồi rơi trước mặt cô. Em có biết đây là cái gì không? Di An ngơ ngác. Là nước ạ? Chẳng lẽ nó không uống được hả? Vậy nó là cái gì sao ngon vậy? Cả ba bật cười, thầy Hà giải thích. Di An nhà thầy Tô có tử lượng khá đấy. Uống rượu mà như uống nước ngọt thế. Cô đỏ mặt chỉ vào một chai trên bàn hỏi lại. Đây là rượu à? Sao nó lại có màu sắc như nước ngọt ở Việt Nam vậy? Em không biết nên tưởng là nước. Xin lỗi mọi người lần nữa, thất lễ rồi ạ. Cô mời mọi người ăn rồi các thức ăn vào bát. Cô còn tranh thủ uống nốt chai rượu dở. Vì ngại lại thêm uống rượu nên mặt cô cứ đỏ bừng bừng. Cả bữa cô chẳng nói thêm câu nào, mặc cho mọi người nói chuyện. Đôi lúc pha tiếng Anh, lúc thì lại dùng tiếng Trung. Đồ Đức thì phát cho cô liên tục, khiến cô phải che bát đi. Thỉnh thoảng nhìn lên, cô lại thấy cậu sinh viên cao nhất mặt, người gầy nhưng lại khá đẹp với đôi mũi cao út, ánh mắt sâu, hàng lông mày rậm, nhìn giống kiểu lai tây, chứ không giống người Trung lắm đang nhìn mình. Cậu ta gần như không nói gì giống cô. Có lúc cô còn bắt gặp cậu ta nhìn mình nên lườm mắt lại. Ngô Minh và Chí Duy thỉnh thoảng chí chóe về việc ai sẽ đưa cô đi chơi trong những ngày tới. Họ thật là những người vui tính và dễ gần. Sau khi ăn xong, vì mọi người đều uống rượu, chỉ có Cao Phong không uống, nên Tô Đức nhờ cậu lấy xe của Chí Duy đưa cô về khách sạn. Cả đoạn đường cô nhắm mắt vội ngủ vì không có thói quen nói chuyện với người lạ. Chắc cậu ta thấy cô mệt nên cũng im lặng, mở nhạc bài hát Love You and Love Me. Vô tình nhưng đó là bài hát mà cô hay nghe mỗi khi làm việc. Cô mở mắt xin phép cậu ta ra mở xe. Cậu ấy cười khá hiền bảo cô cứ tự nhiên. Tựa cầm lên tay, lúc nhìn vào cây lá bài, cô mỉm cười nói như tâm sự. Hàng cây ven đường đẹp quá. Ở Việt Nam mùa thu cũng có hoa sữa, nhưng nó không có màu sắc sặc sỡ như thế này. Anh có biết đây là cây gì không? Anh vẫn không rời mắt khỏi hàng cây đó. Sự im lặng vẫn kéo dài và không nhận được câu trả lời, nên cô mới quay lại. Cậu không biết tiếng Anh hả? Tôi xin lỗi không để ý. Lấy điện thoại mở phần mềm dịch ra và nói vào ấy, sau đó đưa cho cậu ta đọc. Cậu ta nhìn cô gật đầu và cười rất tươi. Từ đó hai người họ cứ không hiểu gì, lại dùng điện thoại dịch từ tiếng Anh sang Trung và từ Trung sang Anh. Cô tự nhủ khen mình đã thông minh đột xuất. Chẳng biết nói gì nữa nên cô lại quay ra cửa sổ nhìn, chìa tay ra hứng lấy vài cây lá nhỏ. Lá rụng lạ tả, bồng bềnh bay như cánh diều, trao liệng trông mới đẹp làm sao. Thấy cô thích thú nghịch lại cười, Cao Phong giới thiệu. Đó là cây ngân hạnh, mùa thu chúng đổi màu vàng nên làm cho thành phố đẹp hơn. Trong khuôn viên trường cũng có nhiều cây. Cô phải mất một lúc mới hiểu hết câu anh nói, nên chỉ nhẩm trong đầu tên loài cây này, để khi nhắc đến Bắc Kinh cô còn kể về nó. Nhìn thấy Dị An có vẻ rất thích cây ngân hạnh nên anh đề nghị. Chiều nay tôi rảnh, nếu cô không mệt thì tôi đưa cô đến nơi có rất nhiều cây ngân hạnh đẹp. Nghe thấy được đi chơi, cô ngồi thẳng dậy, mắt long lanh nhìn người bên cạnh để nghi hoặc. Biết cô đang nghĩ gì, anh cười hiền hậu. Tôi không bắt cóc cô đâu, dù sao cô cũng là em gái thầy Tô. Tôi không có gan ấy, hơn nữa lại đang rất cần thầy để có thể tốt nghiệp và hoàn thành ước mơ chứ. Cô mỉm cười khi thấy cậu ta đoán sai ý mình, nhưng người này sẽ đưa cô đi chơi.